Good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Vets and First Responders race here tonight. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Jay Donham and Tommy Aber. Jay, how you feeling about tonight, bud?
And I feel great. You know what I love about this track? If you
What?
take over and you just flatten it like a pancake, you get New Hampshire. So something about these northeastern tracks that draws these attention out here. And not to mention we are coming up in springtime, so this track is going to be slippery. There's going to be hardly any grip as we see a few people get around there, but we got a fun night ahead of us and we got 85 laps of excitement.
Yeah, it's all those hills up around there. They need a little bit of flat ground to contrast.
Well, it's not that flat in Bristol. I mean, so they got the hills around them. They can at least put some sort of banking around here. Not very much here. I think there's only, what, about 8, 9 degrees total?
Yeah, that's about it, and this puts this on the bottom end of my favorite tracks list because I like a little banking.
Yeah, me too. Kind of adds a little bit more excitement. But hey, this is the way these guys used to run back in the day. Let's just clear out a field, throw a wall around it. Yeah, carve a spot for our cars to go, and let's go racing, boys. So that's what's going to happen tonight. And look who's on the leaderboard: Ryan, Ethan, and Devin Zimmerman. And look how close they are. They are less than 1/100th of a second in from each other.
Yeah, it's going to be a close race by them two tonight. Hopefully, we can have a good tight race between them, and I believe we're going 85 laps tonight, so that'll make this race even better.
Yeah, we should see the cars a lot closer tonight. We went road course racing last week, and some of the guys that were up front all race or every race all season were right up front in that road race. We saw a lot of other guys with some chops that we didn't expect to see up front there, and I expect here we're going to see these cars a lot closer, a lot tighter, and the competition is going to be a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. As these guys race and as they get to know each other and as they get more laps and laps underneath of them, they're starting to figure things out. It was a big week though for everybody in TDR as far as racing goes. Ethan Thompson had two big wins this week. He won the Friday championship in the Street Stock Series, which I believe Mr. Abear was there, and he can give us a little elaboration on his race.
I was there. I had a top 5 car, but with 3 laps to go, I apparently had a top 10 car. But hey, I'll take a top 10 car any night. I normally don't do that well. Had a tremendous night, and I heard you did pretty well tonight in the Miata series. Is that right?
Yeah, I just got out of the Miata series, and a lot of the road course greats were there. Ryan Shelton was there, Andrew Bisnet was there, getting a few laps in, and I beat both of them, and I ended up finishing fifth. And our race control, also, he had a good run. He finished third, so he had a very good run tonight. So congratulations to
Yeah.
Jim on his run. Yeah, everybody had fun tonight. It was at Charlotte Roval, but tonight we're at New Hampshire celebrating the vets and first responders, and I just saw a little bit of push there from Mr. Ethan Thompson. It looked like he took that car hard down in the back wall.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're gonna see these guys digging all night. You agree, Dustin?
Oh yeah, the flat track aspect always makes interesting racing. That's for sure. You know, I'm kind of with you. They're kind of on the bottom of my list for racing on, but they're always fun. They're always a blast to drive.
It's a very grueling track. It's a driver's track in the essence that like it's really you trying to cut the pavement, reduce those inputs as much as possible, save tires, save fuel here a little bit. But it's grueling. It's as a driver, it's not that it's not fun or interesting to compete. It's just the lap after lap, those big wide sweeping turns, making that full mile around this track. I mean, it's intense. Even going, I think we're going 85 laps tonight. That's a long time in a car doing that over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I did have a little bit of a chance to catch some of the action from pit road and the garage area, and these guys are, from what I'm understanding, they're not shifting during the first part of the run. They're able to maintain that speed, but as these tires wear off, the car slows down. It looks like they're going to be shifting towards the later part of the run, and I believe there's 75% fuel tank, so there's definitely going to be uh, one pit stop tonight, which will also spread this field out or tighten it up, either way we look at it.
Yeah, and to testify to the strength of these competitors too, this race was initially announced as I believe a 50 lapper. And the drivers got with race control and they wanted a longer race. They went up to 65 laps and just braking before we even announced the broadcast this evening. They're up to 85 laps tonight, which is a lot of time to spend on this track.
Yeah, 85 laps. Like I said, doing about 30 seconds. So it's, if we go green the checker, which we've been known to do, it's going to be about, we got about 40 minutes of excitement here before we start talking to these guys and see who won it. But man, they are getting loose coming out of turns 1 and 2. So that heat from this spring is definitely putting a little bit more junk in the trunk for these guys and getting them around almost like a dirt car, it looks like.
Yeah, I just watched Robert Cochran step out a little bit as we track along with the 66 of Nicholas Smith here, and stepping out just a little bit more with a little fancy turn at the end for Forrest.
And he was giving us a nice shot of his new paint scheme. I believe that's the ideal paint scheme that he was alluding to last week in the broadcast, that he's going to have a new sponsor. So it's a really, really good looking number 66 ideal car for Nicholas Smith tonight. Striker, it's good to see you out there. Great looking car.
A lot of great looking cars out here tonight.
As we see another one go around, it's
Chuck.
going to be one of
Chuck
those.
McDonald's same area. Oh, and
No.
he got the triple Lutz, whatever they call it in figure skating, flourish on the end there. So I think Nicholas Smith was a little better.
Start grading them as they spin.
Right. I wish we had video so we could hold up the signs with the 10 and
Ooh.
the
I
7.5.
think Devin heard us
Oh,
talking about
man.
it.
Oh, man.
I give that a 9.
Oh,
Oh,
Well, he saved
bonus
it.
points.
He saved it.
David,
Bonus points.
9.5 over here.
I got a 9.8. That was for style, so I gave him the extra 0.3, but he didn't keep it going. He did stop, so he lost the 2 points in deduction for that.
Well, that was the best one of the night by far. I don't think anyone can compete with that.
Hopefully you don't see too many more of them. Hopefully they're testing their limits and we have a good clean race tonight.
Absolutely. We need to call up the guys up there to put some more maple syrup down here in these corners to get these guys to stick around here. I'm telling you what, they are just sliding everywhere.
Yeah, well, as we watch him practice, and it's a little bit of pushing it to the limits, I wonder how much pit entry is going to play in here. If it's as loose as it is trying to just get around the corner, what's it going to be like trying to get woed up to go get some tires and gas?
That's going to be a very tricky question because you're already going pretty slow coming out of turn 3. You hit the gas, you're going to get it turned around. So I'm not sure exactly what pit road is going to look like. Time's going to tell on that. And plus, it's going to be later on in the run. So those guys that are going to be able to push it out. And with knowing that you're going to have one pit stop, who's going to take it the halfway mark, split the race in half and go at about lap 40-41. They do have a lot more fuel to go a little bit longer than that. So,
well, we know Andrew Bisnet's going to be a risk taker.
Always.
I don't think he does it every race. I think we've seen some races where he's kind of been in good position and gone with the flow. But traditionally he runs an alternative pit strategy, and I think that eventually will pay off for the young man.
Somebody's going to have to do something bold here to upset the stranglehold that Ryan Shelton has on this field right now. Devin Zimmerman has been able to put it in victory lane. Ethan Thompson does have one victory left. But Andrew Bisnet has also been knocking on that door on the top 3 to get a podium. So you never know whose night it's going to be. Robert Chuck McDonald's been looking strong every week. And he's just slowly moving up there. And he's another one that likes to save stuff. He'll take it out. He may be a few seconds slower, but if he can save his equipment and take that a few extra laps, that might be time on the track that may be gained at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you're right. Chuck Ones saves a lot, and as well. While we haven't talked about him as much as Biznet because his pit strategy hasn't been as extreme as on a regular basis, but I think between the two, Biznet and McDonald, those two I think are most poised to upset one of the top 3 we've seen here week in, week out.
Yeah, and then like I said, Devin Zimmer, Ryan Shelton. Just put on a clinic last week at Watkins Glen. He went stage racing. I thought they were going to go with stage racing tonight, but I guess they opted out of it just to run the 85. I'm not sure. That may be something that looking at it in the future. We're just playing with it last week. So if you did see my post earlier, I do apologize. I thought that was something that was going to be implemented. But we are down to 1:10 left in practice. You know what time it is.
I know what time it is, but before we get to the sponsors, I think we need to go to the YouTube chat because it's been pretty busy. We haven't alluded to it yet at all. I'll try to give you a brief rundown. Dustin says, hello, everyone. Sharon O'Neill, good evening, everyone. I guess that they're in different time zones. Jim Downham, race control. Welcome everyone to the race tonight. Enjoy the show and good luck in the booth. And y'all yell loud at your driver. Good luck. Janelle chimes in with a good evening. We got Jim saying hi to her. A little bit of this is them talking to each other. Stephen Grin says, "Have fun, you guys." He's casting this race on the big screen tonight, so he'll be watching it in the living room. Stephen Green says that there looks like there's a packed crowd in the stands. There's a packed crowd every night in the stands in iRacing. It's tremendous. How I don't know how iRacing does it. They get every seat filled every race. It's incredible.
They have a great PR team.
They must be making a ton of money over there. Stephen Green did appreciate the style points for the spinouts, back sports, which I presume is our founding father. He's just here. He's just here for the sponsors.
Okay. Well, we got that. All right.
And Stephen Green says he loves the league and thanks all the sponsors. So, speaking of those sponsors,
well,
you tell me which one we're doing first.
We got B&B Wraps.
Yeah, B&B Wraps, facebook.com/B.B Racing Wraps. Back Charities, whose spot we'll get to in a minute, has been involved with them for the last 5 years, helping provide some things over for Tyler Daniels, including the race season trophies for this particular league. They look really awesome. You can go back in our Facebook and find some pictures of these trophies. They look incredible, but they don't just do that. They do iRacing wraps as well. If you need a custom car design, they can do it for you. Or if you're fortunate enough to have your very own real race car, they can wrap those as well. Anything from coffee cups to semi-trucks. And the coolest thing is, whenever he does a wrap for somebody, he live streams it, tags your business, tags whatever, gets you a little bit of promotion. You get to see your wrap being made before it gets applied to your vehicle. So go check him out, facebook.com/B.B Racing Wraps.
McConey Setup Shop.
Hold on, let me pull up that tab in my internet browser here. No, I kid. I could go on and on and on about all the great things that Jeff McConey and his team have done for the charity side of what we do at Tyler Daniels, sponsoring some of our special events and sponsoring a ton of real life drivers out there, both on track and off track. Right now going on, I won't give you any dollar amounts, but they do offer multiple packages. So you can get, if you're into asphalt, you can get asphalt setups. If you're in the dirt, you can get dirt setup. You can get all the setups for a very, very low price over there. They do run contests every now and then. They had a contest a couple races back. You can listen to hear the details, but you can't enter anymore because it has closed, and they have announced a winner. But that winner got some custom made gloves from the apparel company that McConey Setups is partnered with. So these guys are doing big things out there in the iRacing community. Buy your setups from the best. They're their setups and your victories. McConeySetupShop.com.
Back Charities.
Back Charities, another thing that I could say a million things about week over week. You guys have heard it all if you tune in on a regular basis. Right now, we are running a campaign to beautify a park up in Letchworth, New York, which is near and dear to Tyler Daniels himself. He's not too far from it. This is an autism and sensory specific park, which is a very rare thing in this country. So they provide an environment for people with some sort of mental disability that allows them to go out and enjoy nature without all the shock and awe of a zoo or a public park or somewhere where they wouldn't have the opportunity to enjoy that. So all this week through Sunday, anything we raise will go to this campaign. Go to BACC Charities, that's backcharities.com, and help us give back with back.
Yeah, and with your alluding to that, we'll be doing a fundraiser race for that on Friday, this coming Friday on the 22nd, uh, at at Michigan in the next gen cars. Tommy, you'll be in the booth with the founder himself, Andy, and providing the broadcast here on Back Sports, and looking forward to that event.
Yep, and we will be joined with a guest from a group called Film Heat. Film Heat does bracket-style movie elimination to determine the best movie within a given category. The day after the race event, I will be joining them on their podcast for a racing movie bracket elimination. They didn't pick all the movies I know, and they picked some that I wouldn't even have on the list, but they're going to do their best that I'll have some professional input for them. So check them out, Film Heat, on Facebook, and we'll have more details on that show during the charity event. And Dustin and I just came off a podcast. One of those podcast members might be joining the Film Heat crew here in the near future. I think they would work very well together. They do a very cool thing over there. And it was a pleasure joining you earlier this evening, Dustin, and definitely a pleasure having you down here on the racetrack.
Always enjoy being down here on the racetrack. Love being in here with you and Jay as well. And Jay, who's your pick for tonight? What are you looking at?
I've been watching these guys out here, and nobody seems to be able to maintain under control. My pick for the evening, I'm going to go with the guy who's sitting on the pole right now. That's Devin Zimmerman.
Yeah, he's ran a couple fast laps, that's for sure. Tommy, who are you pulling for tonight?
I gotta go with Andrew Bisnet. He's been right there, race after race after race. I've picked him sometimes, sometimes I haven't picked him, but I feel like I'm gonna pick him from now on until he takes that W from one of those three superstars.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Ethan tonight. I think he's gonna have a strong car, save some stuff, and come out here on this fast track and be our flat track and be fast. I mean, it's anybody's show out of these guys that are in here, and we've seen every one of them get loose here in practice, and some of them here in qualifying. So over and under our cautions, we don't know, but these guys are clean drivers. They get all depends who holds the car underneath them, and anybody in this field could take this victory tonight.
Yep, this is going to be a grueling battle. It's a bunch of drivers fighting a flat track. They're going to have to fight getting tight, pushing up, trying to give each other a little bit of room. They're going to get a little spread out, and it's really going to be a little bit of a car versus track. And when they get close to each other, driver versus driver.
Yeah, and my underpick though is Andrew Bisnet. I think if something should happen to either Zimmerman or Shelton or even Thompson, or Bisnet's going to be right there. But I think Bisnet's going to actually improve as this race goes on. This is another track where it's flat, it's tight in some of the turns. You got to have that radius. Bisnet loves the road courses, loves the Nürburgring, knows how to get it done, knows how that car is going to evolve over time. So I'm with you, Tommy. I think Andrew Bisnet has got a really good shot here as this race moves on.
Yeah, as much as broadcasters, we don't pick favorites. I think facts speak for themselves. Those top three have solidified themselves as a force to be reckoned with, and it's going to take one good cannonball to knock that wall down.
And they're trying. They've been putting these 3,500-pound machines to the test of these walls to see if they're going to stand. That's for sure tonight. As we saw, just as we started the sponsorships, I saw Ethan Thompson get over. That's the first time I've seen a flip in one of these tracks, but he managed to get it over back on all fours and put down a pretty good qualifying lap.
I need to learn his secrets. Mine always stay wheels up.
I think it's more lead on the bottom. It's like a cat, you know. A cat always lands on fours, no matter where it goes. You can scare it, jump off, it always lands on all fours. I think it's that same thing.
It's my lead foot. All my cars are bottom heavy.
Let's see who's a reach out there. Sharon says she's going for Ryan. So she's going for Ryan Shelton. And good luck to them all. They all are as loose as a goose. You got that right. They're more looser than a goosers than I've seen out here. A lot of geeses with Mises. And it's going to take a whole lot of wheeling to get around tonight for sure. As we roll down with 250 left in qualifying. And I believe we've seen Zimmerman out there for more than just a couple laps. So he's getting a couple extra laps here in practice.
He's turning in some extra laps here in qualifying, that's for sure. He's got some damage on there, but that'll get fixed for the race starts. And I think he's just testing out his water, see what he can do.
Yeah, that tells me one of two things. Either you're a wise driver and you want the extra laps to make sure you got it down, or you're not as confident in your skill as your qualifying time says.
Right.
Or choice number 3, he's just trying to get some more airtime tonight, knowing that we're all on YouTube and everybody is watching him. So he's getting that for the Kieran Dental Toyota Camry as he's putting it down and seeing what these guys are doing in the show. While he's out there, why don't we go in car with him and see if he's actually shifting and see how that car is actually reacting, Dustin? Can we do that?
Yeah. Let's take a lap around in that Furman Dental Toyota Camry on the iRacing service at the virtual New Hampshire Raceway.
Now, it looks like there are 5 gears in here. He's taking it all the way down, and he is just staying in 4th. So that tells me that little bit of extra gear is not going to be that big of a deal for him tonight. He's just staying in 4th and taking it to the higher side, and you'd think that lower side would be the preferred line.
Yeah,
we saw this from him 2 races ago. He was the only car staying a lap lower on the last oval they ran at ahead of Watson Glen.
Right.
And that car is slowly getting up. And you see that? You can actually see it. And that's a good shot. And out there in YouTube land, if you pay attention, it's nice and it's bumpy. You can see that. And then right down there, see there's nice, flat, Everything looks good, and then right here, as he puts it right on that is like going from that asphalt, that smooth asphalt, right onto those old rough roads, and that's going to tear up them tires over time. But it definitely has more grip because there's more grip there to grab onto, as with that rougher surface than the smoother surface.
I know he's getting too close to that wall for my comfort. Right up there.
Yeah, he's running close to it. That's for
He's
sure.
just letting it drift out. Let's see. We got 41 seconds left to qualifying as we're riding around here. Is there anybody that we can possibly talk to? You know who we never talked to? I'm not sure if he's down there, if we can even pull him up here. We never talked to Robin Pardon. Is he available for pre-race? Little.
We don't. There's a good reason we never talked to Parton. I don't believe he has his radio tapped into the booth.
We don't have the. Okay, so he's on his own little thing.
I can get Ethan Thompson.
No, let's pull Ethan Thompson up and get his thing for the race, as they got a few seconds left.
Yeah, let me get Ethan dialed up here. Hey, Ethan, Tommy up in the booth. You got a read on us, buddy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Hey, did pretty well in TDR leagues tonight. You're sitting pretty in P3 up there right now, which ironically is the number after your name. You know you can email iRacing and get that changed, right?
Is that right?
Yeah, a picture of your ID and the last four of your social, and they'll change that right over for you.
Might have to do that.
No, it really is an easy process. But how you looking, man? Sitting P3, you've been hungry, you've been in the hunt, you got yourself a W under your belt. I think actually 2 W's now at this point. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it might have only been one this season. I know I got 2 last season.
And what's it like approaching the end of the season here, running with Devin Zimmerman and Ryan Shelton, 2 guys class of the field, and running with them week in, week out for those top 3 positions?
It's always tight. These guys are fast week in and week out, so it's just a matter of being able to keep up with them, which isn't an easy task.
How's the car feeling tonight? We've seen you a little bit loose, and everybody's been dealing with loose. I mean, is that something that you're going to have to deal with for the first few laps and the car settles in? What's your chances tonight, do you think?
Yeah, it's just a matter of it's just a matter on exit, driving the entry. It definitely gets a little bit better, once the tires come in. But I think I have an okay chance. Just a matter. I mean, I know Devin and Ryan have run faster laps, but we just have to see who can really manage the tires in the long run. That'll be a real determining factor on who's going to win.
Right.
Well, I think that's a very good point. And you guys are about to shift into first gear. I'll get you back down there with your pit road communications. We wish you the best of luck tonight.
Yep. Good luck tonight, bud.
All right, thanks. Have fun, guys.
Good luck. Have a good run.
Thanks.
Get him sorted down to where he can talk to all his other drivers and, well, whatever they're talking about down there, all the things we guess about up here.
Andy chimes in from, I don't know how he does it from the car, but he has a connection to the booth and to YouTube and everybody out there. He says, let's go. So Andy is ready to get it rolling here. Andrew Biznet and that number 1 Logitech pink. Not sure what he's driving. Is that a Toyota?
It looks like a Camaro from up here.
Is it the Camaro as he's driving the Chevy?
I don't know. Your chair's a little closer to the track.
Okay, yeah,
It's a Camaro.
Yeah, he's driving the Chevy. Yep, he's got a Chevy, so.
Yeah, and as you say, he has a connection. Do you remember when Brad Keselowski made tweeting in NASCAR popular? And then all
Yes.
NASCAR does is tweet now.
That's all they do is tweet.
He's the Brad Keselowski of back sports.
Yes, he's got it sitting right next to him, so anytime that there's a slowdown, he must be a very fast typer and just type over.
Yep,
Or he's got the word
crew
communication.
the crew chief has installed for him a cell phone holder, especially inside the car.
With a PTT, so he can just put in his messages and shoot it out as it's going live here.
Yeah.
Big Bob Gaming comes in, says, let's go Strikers. So we do have a Striker fan out there tonight.
Yeah, we get a couple here every now and then.
Absolutely. I see Bradley Hunt showed up in the number. He took a couple laps, but I don't see him on the board. Taking the green as we go green right now. And he's out there. He's in the last position. So green flag as we got the fight down into turn number 1. And you got Zimmerman on the inside, Shelton on the outside. Zimmerman's going to take that inside, do the crossover. Ryan Shelton's going to take that bottom side. Ethan Thompson, who we just talked to, he said he's got a pretty good chance. He can just hold on for the first few laps. and keep the car underneath of him. As you got a good fight going down into turn number 3 for the first time. You got Zimmerman on the outside, Ryan Shelton on the bottom there. So we're going to see if that prevailing line is the outside or the inside as we get rolling here down to lap 1. Oh, Zimmerman got a little bit high, came down. Shelton just kind of moved over, let him go. And now Shelton's got a big commanding lead going down in turn number 1 for the second lap of tonight. Zimmerman's not letting him get away. Zimmerman is right there, pulling into about a half a car length and then just letting them out. Now they're all spread out. 1, 2, 3 there with Zimmerman, Shelton, Zimmerman, and Ethan Thompson about 2 or 3 car lengths apart.
Yeah, Nicholas Smith with the 1-2 making his way up to 5th there. I think Big Bob Gaming might have something to cheer about tonight.
Yeah, Nicholas Smith is really looking really good tonight as he's at the beginning part of the race as we were come across for lap number 3. He's only 2.5 seconds out, but as these tires roll through, things may actually work out in his favor if he can just keep it consistent all night. Just stay right there with Andrew Bisnet. As we got a car high going around, I'm not sure if somebody just got up in the wall. Looked like maybe Robin Pardon or Chuck McDonald there. Chuck McDonald looks like he got a little bit high going into turn number 1, scraped that outside wall. Going to fall back down to 5 seconds, so hopefully that won't hurt his chances.
That's the maple syrup stripe, right?
Maple syrup stripe, right?
Maple syrup stripe. We always got to have a name for them stripes.
Somewhere along the way. So, yep, as we're up here in New Hampshire is Ryan Shelton. Devin Zimmerman is not letting him get away, and he is just taking that line that he was running. We saw earlier as he was taking those extra laps. Zimmerman's taking it right to that wall. Shelton is not that brave. He is just keeping that about, a good arm's length off of that wall as Zimmerman just puts it within a fingernail length.
Yeah, Ethan Thompson just sitting back. We talked to him pre-race just as they were gritting up there, getting ready to take that green flag. Who can save tires? Well, I'll tell you who can't save tires. It's 2 people fighting for position at the front of the pack. Who could? 3rd place.
Oh, as he gets a little bit loose, so he comes out and just overturn it just a little bit. Turn 2 has been very, very loose. Everybody for the entire season that we've seen to. Turn 2 has been the issue, and tonight ain't any exception there.
Yeah, all through practice, all through qualifying. Here in particular, it seemed on that exit was tremendously loose, and we were actually giving them style points in practice for how many times they could rotate the car.
Right, and we see Stryker here in the number 66 ideal car as he gets around. He is doing a good job keeping it up within the top 5, 6 tonight. So he is definitely within Stryker. Did not let him get away as they see the leaders go off into turn number 1 and 2. But his tires wear off. If you're consistent in the back, as we've seen Chuck McDonald do, he can bring that car from the back to the front just by saving his tires. As these guys wear it off throughout the race, that pace is going to slow down for them. Oh, as we see Bradley Hunt just get sideways there. Good job saving it. No caution, lap number 7.
That could have been a lot worse.
That could have been a lot worse.
And Andrew Bisnet must have had some sort of issue with the wall. He's fallen from 4th back to the back of the field.
He might have looped it around and just kept on going to fall 13 seconds behind, as we've seen a lot of these guys start to get loose coming off of 2 down that backstretch, which seems to be the main issue. And I'm not sure why it would be, because there's really no transition from 2 down that backstretch like we see at other tracks.
Yeah, well, currently we're in the race to watch apparently here for 8th place.
That and
front. And there's a race to watch up here too.
There's a race to watch everywhere.
Yeah, Ethan Thompson just tapped that wall coming out of turn number 2 on that last lap, so he's going to fall back a little bit. But hey, it is kind of it's a 1 mile track. So you got 1 mile around here. It's not really what you would consider a super speedway, but it's not really considered a short track either. But you can knock some fenders out of it and still run pretty quick here.
Yeah, we see Devin Zimmerman kind of digging a little bit there on that last lap we were watching, chasing Ryan Shelton, and washed up the track a little bit. And it's going to be hard to save tires up there, both for the guy trying to run away from the thing that's chasing him and the guy chasing the thing he wants.
It'll be interesting on like the 2 different lines are running, which line does prevail, and see how this pans out as the race goes on. As we're lap 10 of 85.
Yeah, it's funny, these flat tracks, a lot of people consider this like, oh, nothing happens, it's not exciting because, they watch racing for the crashes, right? They're not really into racing. Some of these battles where it's 2 guys, one guy just trying to go faster than the other, and vice versa, right? Because one guy's chasing the lead, the leader's running away from second. This is some of the best racing you can see from a driver's perspective.
From a driver's perspective, absolutely, as we're watching these guys just put down the lap times and see who can stick with each other and keep the pace. Ryan Shelton, we know, has put a hurting on the field these past few times, but now Devin Zimmerman is hanging in there, though. I mean, he has not let him get that far away. Ethan Thompson, we saw, just had a little bit of an issue, but he's pulling back in. He was 6.5 seconds behind 2 laps ago. He's back up to just under 6 seconds. So, I mean, he is gaining on the guys.
Yeah, and trailing now with Robert Cochran on track. I mean, he's on the march. We've seen Ethan Thompson twice now get loose. Once he may have had a little bit of wall contact. Ethan Thompson isn't as comfortable as we normally see him in a car. Robert Cochran, a driver we didn't mention pre-race, but someone who's always ready to pounce. He's worked his way up to fourth place.
Yeah, we never really talked about Robert Cochran this week, but him and Chuck McDonald usually hang out. In fact, they had that great battle at Homestead coming down to the end where McDonald just got into the back of him. But those guys are always near each other. It's good to see Robert Cochran up there. We didn't talk about him, but yeah, 10 seconds behind. Let's say he's certainly not out of it, but still got Ryan Shelton, Devin Zimmerman up front. And they're really close battle. They're staying within 3-4 car lanes of each other.
I would say, based on the gaps, these two guys up front, it's that situation, the chaser and the chased, right? They're both running as hard as they can, and I guarantee they're using a lot more than the other guys. Other than, I don't know, we don't have tech pads in iRacing, but these guys have to be cheating, right?
Well, if they are cheating, we haven't figured that one out yet. But as you can see, Zimmerman in the early parts of this stage went down or was running high. He's moved back down to the middle, so he's getting off of that rough part. I think you can save more tires by staying on that surface where, that bottom part there, that upper, and he's just trying to run that line and maybe just put it on that upper seal where that goes from flat to, or the smooth to the rough surface, just to maybe
Yeah.
try and get a little bit more grip and maintain that momentum around the outside.
Absolutely. We see Nicholas Smith now on pit road as the leaders just rode by, putting him a minimum of 1 lap down here. They're
Yeah,
looking sporty up there.
yeah, they are looking very sporty, and now they're just logging laps, or just they've pretty much got where they are at, and they're just basically judging where the braking zone is. As these cars wear off, tires wear off, that braking zone's going to get a little bit further and further back. Maybe they're starting to shift. I'm not sure what the lap was that they said they were going to start to shift when the tires started to go away, but um, we're seeing 31.6s on the board, so we're inside with Ryan Shelton, our leader. As he go down in turn number 1, he is in 5th gear. He is shifting, so he's hitting that top gear going down into turn numbers 1 and 3.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have a lot of next gen car experience, but I feel like with the 5th gear, I'd probably be doing a lot of downshifting here too. These flat tracks, when you have a 4-speed and you're riding in 4th, you have no other options really. You just want a little bit more bite, and sometimes shifting down a little bit, getting that rear end to hook up will give you that bite you need to help get that car rotated and around the corner. But it makes me wonder, how does this affect the rear tires on the car?
Well, with less RPM, you're really not spinning that car as much, and it looks like these guys are just shifting down, getting that little bit of a turning radius going into it.
Mhm.
So they're not really abusing the tires, but we see Zimmerman's just staying in 4th. He's not shifting up and taking advantage. As soon as Ryan hits that upper gear, red lines it, that's when we saw Ryan shifting up. But there's really maintaining a half a second distance or half a second gap in between him and the leader here, and not shifting. I'm not sure. Maybe staying in 4th might be the way to go. As he's starting to close in now to 0.3 of a second.
Yeah.
Kind of closing in these closing laps here, so maybe Shelton will start to just keep it down in 4th as these tires wear off and the pace slows down a little bit for him.
Yeah, and I think watching these two, they've been dogfighting the entire race here now, with less than a second between them. And I think it's a perfect demonstration of the drivability of a stock car. We have two guys driving the cars completely different ways and staying within a second of each other, right? So two different driving styles, two very competitive race paces that we see out of these two drivers.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see. Actually, that was a great in car. Great job, Justin, up there in the camera to capture that how they're running this race. But yeah, as you can see, there's two different strategies going on right now. Now, obviously, Devin Zimmerman, by running that higher RPM, is going to be at a disadvantage on the gas mileage, though, by about a
That
lap or two.
That's very true. He's turning a couple hundred extra RPM per lap, but I wonder what he gains in engine braking ability and that millisecond of the upshift, right? Like, I don't know how long an upshift takes. I'm not a scientist. I can't measure things that small. But there's a little bit of time gained in an upshift and a downshift, right? Because the engine has to stall for a second and change gears. There's some momentum loss within that, right? And there's the engine braking effect. When you let off the gas and you're at high RPM, the engine will help slow the car down. And I wonder how much of that is factoring into Devin Zimmerman now. It looks like he's closing the gap on Ryan Shelton, running in the higher gear all the way around.
Yeah, well, Ryan is shifting down. He'll right past the halfway down the backstretch. He does go up to that upper gear, so he's in fifth gear basically for just a little bit of the straightaway, probably about a good 600-700 feet per straightaway before he's back down into that fourth gear. Whereas Devin Zimmerman is just taking it up like the old time school where we used to drive at, where you just on fourth gear, that's all you had. You would redline it and then you would let the engine tell you, you know what I mean? Okay, I've had enough, back off.
Yeah. The first time I drove these cars, I was running a great race. I was doing good. I was like P6 or 7. And then someone told me there was a fifth gear. It blew my mind.
Right?
You can drive these things like an old school NASCAR. That fifth gear is not necessarily necessary, particularly at mile long tracks where it's right on the limit of needing that extra gear or not.
That
Yeah.
is very true.
That fifth gear is almost like an overdrive.
Yeah, gotta have it on a super speedway, right? You gotta have that fifth gear. But some of these mile long tracks and shorter than this, do you even need it?
You know, that's I think a big debate that was going on in NASCAR is when do we put the fifth gear in? Did we give these guys fifth gear everywhere we go? Because really, at Bristol and Martinsville, do you really need that fifth gear? I mean, you're on it for just a little bit of time, you're off of it. So, I mean, the fifth gear really isn't going to do too much unless you want that extra gear. Which
Well,
I've noticed when you throw it, if you're loose or something, you could throw it into that higher gear, and that's
Yeah.
actually going to tighten you up and make you may run a little bit slower, but you're more comfortable in that car.
Yeah, at the longer tracks, I think it's obvious that most drivers are going to make use of it just because of the way you tune a car. At the shorter tracks, I do think it gives drivers that extra option and puts a little bit more power back in the driver's hands and not necessarily the manufacturer or the engine builder's hands.
Yeah, like I said, time will tell. Everything is new with this next gen car, and we're finding that out. Even adding a new gear, new tire, new suspension, new drivers, new everything, new places we're going, new experiences. So everything is brand new in 2022.
Yeah, Nicholas Smith back on pit road. Bradley Hunt will be joining him this time by. I'm sorry, last time by. Bradley Hunt now remerging. Nicholas Smith still on pit road, probably getting some optionals.
Absolutely. It's in YouTube land. Robert Tresporo's in it. It says Robert P4, baby. So you got Robert Cochran in P4. So good shout out to that. And he also says Devin is going to keep Ryan honest. And that is very true because since the drop of the green flag, Ryan and Devin have been putting on a great show, just keeping each other honest, keeping each other away from it. Ethan Thompson had that little bit of a hiccup earlier, and he's fallen back to 15 seconds. So right now it's just Ryan and Devin until we can get to that first pit stop, which I would imagine would be coming up probably in the next 20 laps.
As soon as you said one of them had a hiccup, I developed the so I may be turning my microphone off on occasion. I apologize to you out there in YouTube land, but I have the hiccups.
Not a problem.
That,
No, it's Chuck McDonald when it fell a lap down, and he was the one that got up early. So he was tight earlier. I'm not sure what's going on with Chuck. He fell a lap down, and he's one that usually can hold off some of these. And we see Robin Parton now one lap down. So the field is starting to come around, and traffic is going to come into play here.
Oh, I cured my hiccups. I scared myself. I imagine being chased down by Devin Zimmerman.
As we see Devin now, getting around, and his next victim is going to be Andrew Bisnet, who I am really surprised that Bisnet is that far back in this run, guys. But like he said, I think he might have got it looped, and he just never, without the caution, he just couldn't get it maintained. So hopefully he can hang in there, maybe get something, maybe catch a late race caution. I'm not wishing this on anybody, but, put him back on that lead.
I certainly wouldn't put him out of contention. I'm sure some incidents. It was an incident that brought him back there that we didn't catch live on the air, but I wouldn't put him out of it just yet. We got a whole cycle of pit stops to go through. We know he's good at saving. He might not even make a pit stop. I'm willing to bet Andrew Bisnet somehow could go 84 out of 85 laps.
You just never know. With
Right.
he always says he could save fuel, but tires aren't a strong suit. So
And if he
Well,
looped it, he's already wore off some of them tires. So,
I guess if you're gonna get tires, you gotta get fuel.
well, here's definitely a spot you want tires. 3 laps, you want tires. It is very, it's a very abrasive surface with that northern coldness that comes in, and you got the cracking. I mean, these guys do a great job as far as maintaining it. But yeah, I mean, even driving this track in iRacing or anything else, it's very bumpy. It's very abrasive. You can just tell, like you know where you want to run because you know, like right there, that Devin Zimmerman getting on that outside with those rocks underneath those tires, man. And then that backstretch area, you can even see it. It's kind of rough. So, um, who knows? I think they may be coming in shortly here for their pit stops.
Well, one of these two up front definitely has to do something. There is no separation between these two. They have been bumper to bumper all night long. One of them has to do something to differentiate themselves, or they're going to be fighting all night long.
And that's going to put extra pressure on that pit stop. Cannot overshoot your pitch. Cannot get yeah. You just, I mean, that's extra pressure tonight for those pit stops. Before you could allot yourself a little bit of time, even if you overshot your pit. That's a second. But yeah, as we see, Shelton now is starting to bobble just a little bit. But man, it is a good fight going on in between Shelton and Zimmerman.
Yeah, the way Devin's driving, he's almost driving like a wolf chasing a rabbit. He's opening his mouth. He's making these big snaps at Ryan, and Ryan's just steady plugging along. You see Devin right up to the bumper there, but just doesn't have the drive off. He's driving in too hard, trying to get the position. I mean, maybe that's the right move. I'm not saying it's not the right move, but just watch the way he gets right in underneath. He's got the better drive in. He fades a little high, and then you watch Ryan Shelton drive away a little bit, and he's just a wolf snapping at a rabbit.
Yeah, he's definitely chasing him down, like you said. He is snapping away there. He pulls up and just put enough
Right here,
bit of a pressure.
getting into the bumper, fades up, and that little bunny just runs away. That's good racing. That's good racing right there.
That is good racing. It looks like Zimmerman is just diming that corner. He's just going in, holding at a steady wheel, waiting to get past that apex, which is right about there, and then see how he cuts back down, and then so it's kind of almost at a diamond on that corner.
Oh man!
Ooh,
No,
ooh.
oh, no! Say that, no! Oh, Devin!
Wolfie slipped in the snow.
Ooh. Wow!
Oh, that's good racing. So for those of you watching on YouTube, from up in the booth, that does not look as exciting as cars flying all over the place like Talladega, but I will tell you, that is some good racing coming from a driver. That hunt right there, oh, that's good stuff.
No, yeah, you're putting that pressure on and just making him make a mistake. And unfortunately, we saw Devin just get a little bit loose coming out of there and had to chase it down the front stretch.
Ryan Shelton just lifted the visor and formally wiped the brow.
For now.
You know, there was some sweat in that helmet. Oh, man.
Right?
Driving.
Actually, go back to YouTube chat. Robert Trash Times. It says Andrew is saving gas, and he says, "See, Tommy, broadcasting is easy." So, Mr.
Special
Trask
announcement next Monday. Robert Trask up in the booth. He can have my seat. Come on, buddy.
I don't know. I think we'd rather have Pete up here.
Pete, yeah, Pete or Robert, either one.
No, Pete can't watch his mouth.
So yeah, I guess with that little wobble by Devin there, I mean, he might have heated up his tires, and
I have a phone call I have to take. I'll be right back.
You're good, bud. But
sorry about that, man.
Yeah, going. Well, with Devin warming up his tires like that, I guess we'll see if that affects him. I mean, we're coming up on halfway, Jay. I mean, we've kind of gotten a little read on what gas could do. They could almost go 80 laps, or if they save or whatever. But do you see anybody splitting halfway or turning this race into a halfway race, like pitting halfway through? Is what I'm trying to say there.
I don't think anybody's going to really split the race at the present moment. There's like Chuck McDonald, Robin Parton, Bradley Hunt, and Nicholas Smith were already in the pits, so they already have their service. I'm not sure if they can make it to the end. Maybe they can. I'm not sure exactly when they pitted. Biznet, Cochran, Thompson, I think are going to be going on when Ryan is going to dictate this race. I don't think anybody is going to try and go further than they need to at the present moment. Because you're going to get tires. Once the leader goes in, you're a sitting duck as far as tires and time. He's just going to pick up so much speed. Because right now he's falling back about almost 2 seconds behind their qualifying pace.
So like you look at like Ethan Thompson, Robert Cochran, and Biznet there that haven't pitted yet. Do they come in a little earlier trying to split it to see if they can make up that time to get back up with try to get the win? Or don't you think that would be a good strat?
I don't think that would be a good strategy, only because you see the fall off that you have now. You have 2 seconds at a halfway point. So let's just say you came in and you were going to do that. You were going to try and split that race. You're going to make up that time, sure, in the short run, but without a caution and the way these guys are running tonight, they're so spread out. I don't really see a caution happening. Without that, you're going to be putting yourself at a disadvantage at the end of it because Ryan and Devin are going to come out and be that much quicker the further in the race. So whatever time you give away, as we see, Nicholas Smith is sideways there, no caution. It's just a spin by himself, and hate to see that for him. But back to what I was saying before is that time that you're going to gain, you're actually going to lose more as the race wears on. So you want to kind of stay out longer than the leader if you're going to do anything, rather than try and short pit, especially at a track like this where you're losing so much time, and tires are a premium.
Oh, I'm with you 110% there. I've been kind of watching the third, fourth, and fifth spot. They're all within about 4 or 5 seconds, and just kind of seeing what brews out of this. Devin got back in within a second. Now it seems like he's dropping back a little bit more. I don't know if something happened.
Like Devin is going to come to pit road. So I think Ethan Thompson's on.
Ethan Thompson's coming to pit road. He's
okay.
taking
Ethan,
that strat that we were kind of talking about.
So at 42, that's 43. Yeah, that's
about
right
halfway.
at halfway. So he's going to take the halfway mark. But he was also,
20 seconds back.
20 seconds back. So really, he has nothing to lose. If I could have held on to it and maintained it and not gone a lap down, I would have stayed out myself. But hey, that's why these guys get paid the big bucks. That's why they're out here racing and they know each other. So let's see if that strategy does pay off in the end. Maybe he was sitting in third when he went in. Gained that position back.
Biznet is also on pit road, followed by Ryan Shelton.
Okay, so maybe we're coming down to the end of the fuel run here.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if Biznet, we had somebody out there say that Robert Trask said that Biznet was saving fuel. So if he saved fuel and he's pitting now, halfway during the race, I suspect we're going to see the leaders coming in not too much longer after this.
So
my apologies, gentlemen. My day job is superhero.
That's okay.
You're good, right? I mean, Devin has not pitted, and neither has Robert Cochran. So I guess we'll see. It looks like Devin's going to dip on pit road now.
Yeah, so now we got Devin Zimmerman and Ryan Shelton are all on pit roads. That just leaves Robert Cochran as the only lone dog out there. Has not taken his pit, but I'm sure he'll be coming around this time because you cannot give up any time at this track. Like I said, they went 2 seconds over half the race. So if you stay out, you're just going to give that much more away at the end of the race, even if he can come out and have like a 2-3 second advantage.
I think you got to try to get the bonus point, though. Got to get that bonus point.
And he did.
Ooh,
Robert Cochran did get the bonus point.
That was close.
That was Brad Hunt. Smacked the inside wall there.
Well, it's hard to see through the mirrors with those Mickey Mouse ears there.
I don't think he's looked in the mirrors too much. He's basically trying to concentrate on the. Ooh.
That was the smack on the one. Yeah, that's the replay.
Okay. I was gonna say twice in a row. Oh my goodness! All right, so yeah, he is just really fighting that car. He's been fighting the car since the very beginning, but he did get in the session late. And this is one of those tracks where obviously you can see it's a rhythm track, and there are two different strategies being played out. So just less time on the track equals not really knowing your car over the long run.
Once they cycle through, I'm looking for that gap between Shelton and Zimmerman. We said pit strategy is going to be huge here. And looking at the YouTube, I think Robert Trask should be in the booth next week because he said I was wrong, and that's fine. You can come up here and do this, Robert. You want to do this? We'll set this up for next week for you.
Said sponsored by Duff's Beer and Moe's Tavern, and so much for fuel saving theory. Tommy was wrong.
Right. Do you guys want Robert in the booth next week? I'll bow out. I'll give Robert my spot. That'll be fine.
Well, we can always have a 4-man booth. We can always have a special guest up here.
We need a pit road reporter down there, so Robert can take over the pit road reporter. Oh, I saw Andrew Bisnet just come sliding tires out there on. So a little bit of smoke, and he's slowing down. That's going to put a. Oh man!
Some
So these
fresh,
guys are really.
fresh rubber is going to unsettle things a bit, right? These guys got to warm them up, get back in that rhythm. It's a rhythm track, like you said, Jay. And they pit around lap 40 here. We're coming out. It's 45 to go based on the last numbers I got from race control. Are those 5 laps going to matter?
No, we're at 38 to go. They did pass the halfway point, so we should be here till the end. So it's just a one-stop race, and everybody made it to the leaders made it to the past halfway. So we should be good to go there. As we see, Ryan Shelton, Devin Zimmerman lost about 2 seconds on that pit exchange, so he lost some time on pit road. As Robert Cochran now is in the pits, falling back, and he should cycle back through to about 4th or 5th by the time it's all said and done.
Yep, Ethan Thompson moving his way back up to 3rd as they cycle through. And we've got a pretty big gap now between Ryan Shelton and Devin Zimmerman.
And this is going to be where, because Devin likes to run higher, and I don't know if he learned a lesson during that first stint, first half of the race, whether, if he learned anything that he could gain on Ryan. But now I'm not sure why he fell so far back on that pit stop. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything where he overshot his pit or speeding anything. I mean, so those guys are out there running, so there was no speeding penalties. But to lose almost 2 seconds, I mean, that was one heck of a stop for Ryan Shelton.
I mean, it comes out of the point. He could have been too far ahead in his box, not as far up in his box where he needed to be. Ryan Shelton alluded to it a while ago, talking with some of us after a race, that if you don't get in the pit box straight, your pit time can actually be a little bit longer because your car is not where it needs to be. I don't know if that's a thing in iRacing, but if it is, I got to learn how to pit better.
I trust anybody faster than me. If they say it's a thing and you're faster than me, yep, that's the thing now that I worry about.
But we all know that, a tenth of or a quarter of a second on pit road can make or break the race. I mean, getting in and out, and the speed getting in, speed getting out. That's could have been where that gap came from. I mean, he's about holding that same gap as, kind of running the same time laps. So I guess we'll see what happens here with 34 to go.
Yeah, and that's speed variable. So if you don't want to actually go over, we got a caution, guys. Caution has flown. Caution is in the air. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. As Chuck McDonald and Robin Pardon get together. That's going to change a lot of things. Well, guys, we got a race.
We got
our top 3 back together. And pit stops have already taken place. Is anybody going to go down and try and get some fresh rubber out there? Or are they going to stay on older tires? If it was me, I'd stay on the older tires because I know they're good and I know they're getting worn in. And I know they're good till the end, especially with a couple of cautions underneath you here.
No, going in with what you were saying there, Jay. I mean, I'm looking at 3 cars on the lead lap. Bisnet should get the lucky dog in this. If with the pit strategy, it's like, you can come in and get that fresh rubber, which the way it looks like they're doing. It's you only got to drop back to 3rd if you pit. So I would pit here, just like what these guys are doing.
So my strategy, and I'm not a professional, but I do okay most nights.
They are pitting.
Yep.
I'm not winning races, but I could get podiums. My strategy: 50% of field. If you're in the top 50%, you do what the leader does. If you're in the bottom 50%, you do something different.
So, well, I mean, who could really benefit from this is those guys that are a lap down. If they stay up, they're going to get a wave around. And we know cautions breed cautions, and these guys are taking some laps. And we all know these fresher tires, these fresh Goodyears that they put on these things make these cars very, very skatey for the first 10 laps. So
It looks
I think
like a few of them might possibly stay out. We'll go to Chuck, see if he stays out. He'd be the first one to get the wave around. We'll see what these guys do back here that were a lap down. If they stay out, looks like Chuck's gonna pit.
Chuck would have to pit. He was the one that was involved in that
Yeah,
incident, so I'm sure he's got some damage. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe knock that toe out of alignment because he did smack that wall pretty hard.
looks like a
Going
That
in.
Robert
will be the lucky dog.
Biznett would get the lucky dog. He's pitting right now though, so I don't know how that works. Um,
He'll
but
still
the
get the lucky dog after, because he
Yeah,
didn't come in the pit till after the leaders pitted, so he'll get the lucky dog back again.
The key, both in iRacing and in real life, wait for that pit lane to open. You pit when the pit lane is closed, you are automatically back of the field. You don't get nothing.
So I'm looking at
wait for pit lane to open.
I'm looking at a
Right.
Brad Hunt, Nicholas Smith, and a Robert Cochran look like they're going to be taking the wave around unless they would pit on this time. But their pit road should have opened on the last buy, so looks like we'll get a couple more back on the lead lap, and Biznett should have got the wave around there as well with being the lucky dog, and we have a race again, boys. With take green about 30 to go.
It's
See,
going to be a very good race to the end here.
checking
we
in with YouTube as we cycle through. Robert Trask has decided his new job is to heckle me. I think we should have Robert in the booth. Are you guys okay with Robert being in the booth?
Absolutely, we should bring Robert up here.
Okay,
And
we
then-
should put him on the spot. Robert, would you like to be in the booth next Monday? And we'll await his
Hey,
response over there. In the
If
chat.
he's in Discord right now, just hop in the booth right now, Robert.
Right? And Mr. Green says Ethan is going to be tonight's Kyle Busch, and I'm not sure if everybody saw that race last night, but Kyle Busch did sneak out a win yesterday after Tyler Reddick and Chase Briscoe got into it on the very last turn going into that typical Bristol ending, and Kyle Busch was there to collect the win. So,
I have it recorded.
well, I guess you can just,
Well,
I didn't say anything.
Spoiler.
I don't have it recorded. I tried to watch the end of it, and I don't remember how it ended, so it must.
Oh,
have
he
fallen.
says sure. So he's going to come in the booth next Monday with us. So he'll be up here.
All right, we got Robert up in the booth next Monday. Robert Trask, also known as Pete. Pete's not welcome. Robert has to come.
It's gotta be Robert.
If Pete shows up, we're closing the door.
We have a mute button.
No, I think that'll be a lot of fun. Robert Trask,
Yep.
for those of you who are watching the YouTube and not a part of the whole TDR thing we do, he's been racing with all of us for a long, long time. I think it would be a pleasure to have him up here and get his perspective on some of these guys he races with every now and then.
So as we're coming down to we're one lap to green. This brings a whole new race. Ryan's been dominating this race, been up front the whole time. Does Devin or Ethan or I guess Chuck's 2 lap down. Those three have a chance at this, or what are you guys feeling right now?
Yeah,
Five on the lead lap, so we have 5 on the lead lap, and Robert Cochran was there to collect. So something should happen. There's Robert Cochran right there. Andrew Biznett, who is mine and Tommy's under pick here, he's right there. It's getting late in the race, so I think these guys know what they can do. Let's see if they can stay with the leaders is going to be the key.
And watch Biznett. End of the line, lap cars ahead of him. We expect the lappers to let him go by and chase that field. But anyway, here we go. This is opportunity right here. This is opportunity.
Green is in the air. Ryan takes a commanding start, but you have Ethan Thompson, who's going to dive underneath Devin Zimmerman there, but they're going to get sorted out. And if they can just hold it together here for these first 5-10 laps underneath, keep their tires under them, keep them in their sights, I think it's going to be a great race coming down to the end with 28 to go.
Andrew Biznett charging ahead of the lap traffic back there. He's got 1 or 2 more cars to work out before he's in contention for 4th place.
Robert Cochran is maintaining 4th spot as Andrew Biznett is now chasing him down, and they're just about. Maybe Andrew got around, and he's on the hunt. He's on the hunt with Bradley Hunt, so he's coming up through the field 3 seconds behind. So here's Andrew Biznett. They're going to come up underneath the Bradley Hunt as we roll back around here with Ryan Shelton, who's just pulled out to about a 5-car length lead, kind of where they left off in that first stint before the pit stops. So now is it going to come down to Devin Zimmerman learn enough to keep it there at the end with 26 laps to go. Ethan Thompson, hopefully he can keep it off the wall on this last run and stay right there with the leaders, and we can have a great race going into the final few laps of this one.
Yeah, I think that restart sorted itself out very quickly. Ryan Shelton got a tremendous launch off the bat. Devin Zimmerman had nothing for him coming down that front stretch. Coming out at 2, we had Ethan Thompson giving a run on second place. I think that drug 2 and 3 back, giving Ryan Shelton that little bit of cushion that he needed. And Devin Zimmerman now on the hunt has closed 2/10 on the gap previously left by the battle for second and third.
Yeah, it's a great battle up front as we see Devin Zimmerman just trying. He's been working the back of Shelton all night. So if anybody
Yep.
knows where he is braking, where his brake points are, what he's doing, and I'm not sure. I know we saw that Ryan Shelton was shifting, and if you get a good shot here, if you look, you can almost see that car jerk a little bit when he shifts up right past that start finish line. I believe right. It's just out of shot right there. Did you see it jerk just a little bit? So I'm wondering if maybe Devin is noticing that as well.
Yeah, and it's hard to say. I talked about it a little bit earlier about their styles and how two driving styles work on the same car, same track. What what does one gain from not shifting versus what does one gain from shifting? Is that extra gear ratio worth the time lost to make the extra gear happen, or are the gains to be had running one gear lower and not having all the time between the shifting?
I see that's a sequential shifting. They are pretty close in the RPM gauge, so they're really not losing anything, Tommy, I don't think. By shifting up, he's just ensuring he's not overcooking that engine and having a chance to blow it. See, because you're seeing that, you're redlining that for the last, quarter of that straightaway as you see that Devin
Yeah,
Zimmerman do it.
Yeah.
And that's putting a lot of extra stress on that engine, whereas Ryan's
very
actually taking
true.
care of his engine. And without, with the sequential shifting that they have in these, it's not over and up anymore. You're just pulling down and pushing up. So it's going to actually be a little bit easier shifting with the next gen cars. It's going to be a lot easier on the engine than it would if you were in the old style or the last gen cars.
Yeah, that's very true. And I don't know how iRacing calculates the metrics of engine wear, but I would presume they do. I mean, they do a really good job of bringing oval racing as real as it could be. I don't know if anybody that does oval racing better on, of course, some sort of simulator service. Engine wear might be a factor when it comes down to racing like this. Are you turning higher RPMs? We know it affects temperatures by far, right? Sometimes you run a gear lower than everybody and your car's burning up and theirs aren't, and you wonder why. I wonder how much it actually affects the engine wear and the total vehicle conditions, so to speak.
Over a longer period of time, it would have to put more wear on it. We're only going 85 laps tonight, so it's really shouldn't be that big of a deal. But if we were going like, the normal 400 or 500 miles or 400 or 500 laps that they do around here, I'm sure that over time that would definitely put bigger stress on the engine and could be a bigger chance for a failure.
Yeah, as I was going through the field there on the top three, you got, Ryan sitting there shifting, um, Devin staying in fourth gear. Ethan Thompson's actually staying in fifth gear all the way around.
And he's, yeah,
His
but
last
he's losing that
He
time
is
going
losing
off.
that time. Yep.
And I think that's
saying.
where the whole thing comes in, where, as Tommy was alluding to, you have better braking and throttle control if you stay in fourth gear.
hmm
Um, with Ethan Thompson, staying in fifth gear right now isn't a bad idea because that higher gear, you're going to have less of that, like, that oomph coming off the turn. It's going to be a little bit better for you. So it's
Yep.
easier to maintain. So if he was really loose, like this time, we're at 19 to go. So already 10 laps into the run. At this time, he had already come and it hit bounced off of that backstretch wall and lost a whole bunch of time during that first stint. So staying in fifth gear really isn't a bad thing for Ethan right now. Maintaining third, I mean, that's a pretty good shot, and he's only 3 seconds back.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, again, and I say this a lot. I'm not a scientist. I can't measure these very small things. But those are the kinds of things that make the differences, especially when competition is so tight with less than a second between first and second and less than 5 between first and third. It's how much do those little things matter as far as wear and tear on the vehicle, the drivability, and those are what makes this track combination a driver combination.
So see, Andrew Bisnet here, he's staying in fourth gear all the way around too. So I know these guys do communicate, and I know there's a lot of communication in how they drive, and they do help each other out. So maybe one is saying I'm shifting up to fifth, going down to fourth in the turn. That would be Ryan. Maybe Zimmerman's letting everybody know, hey, I'm staying out there, and I'm just staying in fourth gear. And you're really not seeing too much of a drop off, though. Ryan Shelton does have the winning combination right now, shifting up into fifth and then back down into fourth over the other two. As I see smoke coming out, as we see somebody getting around. I'm not sure who just went around out there.
Nicholas Smith.
Nicholas Smith. Oh, he's having a bad night tonight. I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah, it's just one of those things. As we got 16 laps to go, but it's good to see you out here. We got a lot of support for you. Just keep it up, bud. You're doing all right.
He's running back there where I run.
We were watching as that first stint was coming down to the end. I mean, Devin got right to Ryan's bumper as we were talking about earlier, and if he would have had that slip up, is Ryan using up his tires more than Devin is? I guess we'll see here in the next 15 laps if Devin has anything for him.
Yeah, and it's very difficult in Devin's position. Ryan, the track is his. He gets to pick his line, run his line. It's up to Devin to really find something that works a little better. And if Ryan's on that perfect line, there's nothing for Devin to find.
Yeah, so we reach out to Green. Ryan says Ryan is running a good, solid line, hitting all his marks every lap, and he is, and that's the whole thing. And Devin Zimmerman has been behind him all night and has not really let him get away. This is one of the closest races we've seen all season, and it's a really great race here tonight in New Hampshire. As you see, Ryan Shelton, like I said, but they're both in fourth gear going into the turn. So Ryan backs down to fourth. So they're both at this point, they are both in the same gear and they're both getting that RPM. Is that extra push that they're going from fourth to fifth, is that enough to keep him over time? Keeping him ahead of Devin right now, as we see Devin just taking a little bit deeper, but he's just really pushing that car right now, just trying to do anything he can back at Shelton.
Yeah, this has been my favorite camera angle whenever we've watched these two. The difference between how they both attack the corners. You have Devin Zimmerman really good on entry, fades up the track a little bit, Shelton a little better on exit, and that's where they're fighting each other. Both of them are really good at opposite corners. So they're trying to be the best at where they're both better, and they're trying to figure out how to improve where they're both not.
Right.
And
Shelton's just taking that upper line and he's just kind of maintaining like you would because you can't take it to the wall here like we would normally see those upper feeders, kind of like at other tracks that we see. There is no upper. You can't really take that upper line. That line is about where they are at now. As you see, you get off into those rocks and you just, I'm sure he moved out of the way a little bit, but it just pushes you right towards that wall.
you're almost drawing like a very tight J shape with your car as you come around the corner. You don't really diamond it. It's not a true apex. You kind of enter low, widen a little bit on entry, and carry it to the wall. And it's these tracks that are they're flat. They're hard to manage as a driver to hit that perfect line. Ryan Shelton has done a great job of hitting his marks, and Devin Zimmerman has done a great job searching. I don't know if he has what it takes to get up there to Ryan, but he's certainly shown that he is in the hunt and doing the best he can.
Yes, as we come down with 10 laps to go, and Devin Zimmerman is just, they're right there. I mean, still within a second of them. And it only takes a little bit of a slip up as we see them starting to get into some slower traffic here. And that traffic may come into play too with 10 laps to go. If they're going to have anybody in front of them, who's going to be out and who's going to get out of the way, as we've seen a couple times. I believe was it Texas, where Ryan was coming up on the back of Stryker there, and Stryker, he just ran into the back of him. So, you never know what's going to happen with these lap cars, where they're going to go and what kind of communication these guys have with each other. But we have seen it happen where, lap cars have been an issue and caused some headaches for these front runners.
Yeah, it's an issue everywhere. I'm off in lap traffic. I do my best to get out of the way, but sometimes the other guys are so much faster. It's like, oh crap, can I? And you don't, and it's like, oh, I feel so bad about it. But I've been there. It's hard to be a slow car, amongst a bunch of fast drivers.
And you know what they all say, and I've heard this repeated time and time again, and this is good advice coming from the guys that are running in the front all the time, that are actually chasing us, the lap cars down. They say, run your line, we will get around you. They don't want you to move over for them. Don't slow down. Don't do anything, because they can as we see Devin Zimmerman get loose, that's going to put that little bit of a separation now. And if Ryan can maintain this pace, 8 laps to go, that's going to definitely put a hamper. I don't think Zimmerman can overcome that mistake.
Yeah, that was the boys versus men line, and I think Devin just stepped over it.
Absolutely. And I was going back to before, as you're racing and you see these guys coming up on you, they want you to run your line. They will get around you, and if they have to do it in a couple of laps, they will let you know. If you're in Discord with them, they'll let you know. Go high, go low. You know what I mean? Give me the
Yep.
line, or you
Yep.
will ask them what to do. But for the most part, if they see you in 3-4 laps, they know exactly where you are good and where you are bad, and they can make that move based on that. If you change any of that up, you're going to have some big trouble. And that's, I think, what we saw happen at Texas, where, Nicholas Smith wanted to be the big guy, and be the nice guy and let him go by, but it just, that closing rate just closed up, and Ryan ended up just, didn't have enough time to react to that.
Yep. And your advice is spot on. Just do your thing. It's their job to get around you. They're very good at their job because they're about to get around you, right? I've been guilty of trying to get out of the way of people. I once dumped a driver whose name won't be mentioned. I owed him $20 cash, which was paid. He was running like second. He was like third in points, and I did a dumb and tried to like move to let him by, and I wrecked him. And we talked about it, and that's when I learned the whole like just do your thing, just run your line. I will get around you. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, with 5 to go, that lap is actually, that gap is shrinking, guys. He was at just about over a second and a quarter. He's got it down to a second going in the turn. So we got 4 to go. I'm not sure what can go on, but hey, if Devin just pushes it a little bit too much, gets a little bit sideways, Devin is right there to be on the back door, knocking at Shelton's bumper.
Yeah, it's always anybody's race right up until the last moment, except for last week. I mean, he was going to win that no matter what. But tonight,
Yep,
now
tonight is definitely. And I see we're coming up on lap traffic. So Bradley Hunt, who has had Mickey Mouse has had a little bit of a bad night tonight, been struggling, but they should be able to catch him, and will that be a factor? It depends on where they catch him at going into turn number 3 or 4. Is that going to hold Ryan up and let Devin Zimmerman get to him?
yeah, look at Andrew Bisnett, not doing too shabby back there. I really thought he was going to have it for him tonight. I really did.
Andrew Bisnett did get a little bit loose a couple of times. I did catch him just getting sideways a couple of times, just chasing it. But Ryan, you got to give your hats off to Ryan Shelton, Devin Zimmerman for maintaining, and knowing what to do. As we got 2 laps to go, with just over a second over Devin Zimmerman.
I can't wait till season 6. The amount of drivers that are going to be lined up to try to take down these 3 gentlemen.
I can tell you what, you could try, and I'll put a challenge out there if anybody else can do it. Come on out and let's see if you guys can do it, because I race with Ethan Thompson and I got my butt handed to me twice this week. So even though he's running third, you can just imagine Shelton and Zimmerman. But like I said, it just takes that slip up, and you never know when it's going to be your night and not be your night. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them scare you. Come on out here, join us. If you have iRacing, if you have a rig and you have an old computer, dust it off. Let's blow things out. Let's get out here and start racing with these guys. If you know anybody who's an iRacer, as we're coming down with the last lap to go, if you know anybody who's an iRacer, a vet, first responder, absolutely tell them about the lake.
Yeah.
Come out and join us.
Yeah, and if you're a veteran or first responder, or
As
you
we
know somebody who is and they're struggling to get some equipment, let us know. We will do what we can to help you out.
Absolutely. And Ryan Shelton, congratulations on your win. It's got to be a streak now. I'm not sure what the streak is, but it's growing out there. He's the causey of this season. Devin Zimmerman comes home in the bridesmaid's position yet again, but it was a very fun, good clean race between those two. So very, very entertaining tonight with those two chasing each other down.
Yeah, that was a heck of a battle to watch. Ryan Shelton just made less mistakes, and he's shown that he makes very few of them. If you're going to get Ryan Shelton, he has to make the mistake, or you have to be tremendously eager.
Yes, and there's a little bit of after activities going on over there, as I've seen and watching between Andrew Bisnett and Bradley Hunt. Those two kind of went at it afterwards. But no, Robert Trask falls in and says, wow, what a good race up front. And Devin was there the whole race. And yes, he was. And just didn't have enough, had that little bit of a slip up. And that's all it took for Ryan Shelton. Had he not had a slip up, I think that would have been Been a race up to watch for sure down up the end. Ethan Thompson brings it home third. Andrew Bisnet comes home fourth, so he did get a top 5 out of it. Robert Cochran came home fifth, and Chuck McDonald sixth. Congratulations, Chuck. Chuck fell back early. He had a little bit of that issue when him and Robin Pardon got together, but still brought it home sixth to bring it up that far. Congratulations to Chuck. Robin Pardon, seventh. We got to get Robin up here. We got to talk to Robin, find out a little bit more about him, get some personalities out here, and start talking to some of these guys that we hardly talk to.
Yeah, we got to reach out to Pardon and get his radio dialed into the Discord here.
Absolutely. Bradley Hunt brings it home eighth. Had a rough night tonight. And Nicholas Smith, he also had a rough night tonight. Brings it home ninth. And what a race. That was exciting. It's that flat, short track mentality racing. I mean, that's some fun racing to watch tonight. Probably the most entertaining that I've seen since the Las Vegas race.
It is. And while Ryan Shelton's, I'm sure, busy grabbing some awesome screenshots because he's apparently really good at that too. What doesn't this guy do?
Right.
I'm gonna dial up second place, Devin Zimmerman. Hey, Devin, Tommy in the booth. You got a read on us?
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Hey, man, you were digging all night long. I mean, man, I was rooting for you on some of those corners. Some of those corners, I was like, like, well, what was it like out there, man? You had the car. I know you had the car, but trying to get around Ryan Shelton, who just has the open road, hitting his marks, nailing it. What's that like? That was a heck of a dogfight all race. I know up from the booth, from the cameras we have, not the most exciting stuff, right? Because people love crashes and chaos. As a driver, that was some of the best racing I've seen, I think, all season.
Yeah, it was a good dogfight. Unfortunately, it didn't end up the way I wanted to. I had the car, like you said. Got a bad start on the initial start. Missed the braking spot to where I could get a good exit off of 2, and that kind of let him get to my inside. He did a over under, which is a good move, and I just wasn't able to maintain it through 3 and 4. He got in front of me, and fresh air's king. And then once you make a pass, it's hard to pass somebody else back. So unfortunately, I was trying. I knew I had the car, especially on the long run, to get it done. But man, I had the car at the end too. I messed up out of turn 2 one time, and it was kind of just over at that point. I think it was like 7 laps to go or something like that. I just got a little too heavy footed.
So before I let these guys drill you a little bit, from a driver's perspective, I wonder, so like you're better on entry, he's better on exit, right? So when I'm driving, if I'm better on entry, I already figured that out, and I'm trying to improve the exit. What were you doing to try to match up your entry and exit with his to try to get a little bit more out of each corner?
I tried to back up the entries a little bit to see if maybe that could improve the exit to let the car rotate in the center. Seemed like his car was getting good rotate right around where the point where you needed to pick it up. My car was not doing that early in the runs, but later in the runs it kind of came to it. So I tried to adjust that in the second run. It started working, and I was able to get right to his bumper. And then I was trying to formulate a way to get around him, and messed up out of 2. But
that's that tricky math.
Yeah, the tricky math's trying to get around him. So I think I had a way to do it, at least the way I was going to try, but it just wasn't to be.
Well, you did have one heck of a run. We were in car with you for a few laps, and you were staying in fourth the entire time, just winding that thing out. Were you using that as an advantage to use the engine as your brake going in the turns, or did you not realize that there was a fifth gear?
No, it was definitely to use the engine braking as well as my regular braking. It seemed like the car was more stable in the center entry and center of the turns in fourth gear. If you went up to fifth gear, you really had to back up the entry a lot more than I wanted to. That seems to be impossible why I was better on entry, but I could just keep the momentum in the car all the way around the turn. It seemed like, and not really lose too much time unless I made a mistake. But the fourth gear just seemed comfortable. I practiced with it during the week and practiced with it again, and on the qualifying laps, was able to get pole, but yeah, it just yeah, just a couple mistakes that I need to iron out and not make next time, and I think we'll have this thing another win coming soon.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part about beating someone like Ryan Shelton is that he doesn't always have the car, but just his ability to not make mistakes makes him a force to be reckoned with. And you certainly had the answer for it tonight. I know you could have done it if you could have just done that math when you were at the bumper.
Yeah, yeah. There's a specific time you have to set up the pass, and you really have to make it count when you do it. Otherwise, you lose a lot of time. Um, the only other way would be bump and run on the final lap, which I didn't want it to resort to that. I wanted to stay clean. I wanted to race them hard, but clean. I don't really like doing bump and runs to win a race. It's not my style. I want to beat somebody straight up. So
Hey,
that's yeah. I mean,
you
I
did all
understand the
right. You
racer's
did all right.
mindset, but no, I had a move down that I wanted to try, but I had to wait for the time to do it, and it was getting there, but just one little mistake kind of cost me. And then yeah, after that
Well,
was yeah, it was just kind of clean up, and I was able to get close to him at the end, so that was nice.
Yeah,
I,
you kept
I
it close. It was very entertaining, and that pit
very.
stop there when you went in, you guys had about a half a second lead, half a second from each other. Maybe it was second going into the pit stop. And then you came out, and it was right about almost two. You did close the gap a little bit. Was there any issues on pit road, um, or you just Ryan had a better stop?
I think I babied it getting into pit road. I took it easy. I didn't want to lock up any tire or
Yeah.
spin out. It's a tricky pit road to get to, so I think I just took it a little too easy, and that's where he made up his time. Um, the pit stop itself and getting off pit road was fine. I think I just kind of babied it a little too much getting in, but
Right.
um, I know in the long run, if it would have stayed green that last run, I would have caught him. I was starting to catch him just a little bit there right before the caution came out. It seemed like I was knocking off a couple tenths a lap, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I would have been right on him at
Yeah,
the end
you
of the
were on
race.
them. You were catching them, and it was going to be a great finish. So maybe we
Yeah,
need to
man.
talk to race control about adding about another, what, 15, 20 laps
At
to these
least, at
things.
least.
No, I think that was good. It just that caution flag just threw a wrench in as it normally does, but
Right.
still, with the amount of laps that we had left, I still thought I was plenty good, and I was able to stay right with him on the restart, and then just trying to wear out his rearview mirror a little bit, and yeah, just it didn't work out. But next time, I'll get him next time.
So I say this all the time to drivers as we're signing out, and this time it's unusual because I almost mean the first part more than the second part. Thank you for the show and thank you for your service because that
Yeah.
was that was tremendous. I can't wait till next week to see what you got for him, man. I was rooting for you. I thought you were gonna pull it home. We spent more time with second place than I think we'll actually spend with Ryan.
Yeah, he dominated tonight, but yeah, I can't let him do that again. I need to pick up the pace here. Had a couple bad weeks, but yeah, the current dental car came alive tonight. Also, just I am running the puzzle pieces. It is Autism Awareness Month, so the puzzle pieces on the car for this month. Um,
It is. Are you gonna be at the charity event on Friday?
I am not. I'm actually going to be out of town, so I won't be able to
Oh,
run the charity event.
Shame.
I wanted to, but I can't be out of town. So wanted to run the puzzle pieces in this league while I could,
well,
and
on the plus side,
yeah.
you'll be able to watch it, and we do accept donations 24/7 through Sunday.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be watching. So I'll see if Ethan's in it. If Ethan's in it, I'll be cheering for him. I'm pretty sure he'll run it. So uh, got to cheer for my buddy Ethan there.
There you go.
Absolutely, man. Well,
All right.
again, thank you for the show. Thank you for your service, man. Best of luck next week.
Yeah, appreciate it, fellas. Thanks for the broadcast, and I'm be sure to watch it back tomorrow. So
Well,
thanks you
tonight
guys
it was
for what y'all do.
definitely our pleasure. Tonight was definitely our pleasure watching you
Absolutely.
Oh
guys.
You
yeah.
have to you have to
So,
watch it back so you can put on the show for yourself. You're driving out there. I know your head's big enough as it is with us talking about it, but like, great job. I can't wait to see how Ryan felt about it.
right.
Oh yeah,
And
I'd like to hear his too. So
Well,
I'll
you'll
be
have to
watching back. No,
listen back. Go
it was a
go ahead.
good battle. It was a good battle all night.
It
So
was. It was. I'm gonna get you back there. I'm gonna go ahead and dial up Ryan. Best of luck next week, Devin.
I appreciate it.
Have a good one, bud.
Bye.
Oh man! All right, you guys ready to dial up Ryan?
Yeah.
Sure, let's dial up Ryan. We haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, Ryan. Mr. Shelton, this is Tommy up in the booth. You got to read on us.
Got you loud and clear.
What's it like being chased by like one bee? Not like you
Look,
shook the hive, just that one bee that's got it out for you.
I was trying to shake it off. Good lord, that was a lot. That was 85 laps of hell.
Do you think
Wait a
he had
minute,
the
I
car?
just heard Ryan Shelton sweat a little bit. Oh my goodness, Devin, now you really did your job. That's the first time I've actually heard Ryan Shelton be shook up at the end of a race.
Well, I gotta ask you, and I told Devin, so I have no shame in telling you this. I thought he had the car to beat your car. Like you were better on short runs, he was better on long runs. He was better on entry, you were better on exit. Like that was a tight dogfight the whole time. I'm sure you were sweating a little bit. Do you think with more laps in the race, if he had another good long run, do you think he could have got you in theory?
I think just in general he could have got me. I think just well the thing that happened, I
He
think
would come alive.
well
Alive that later
the
part.
the 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 thing that I think was he had the faster car, but it's so hard to pass at New Hampshire that he had to be absolutely perfect every single lap to get past me. Because
Yeah.
I saw at the beginning of the race he was running higher and he was running faster than me, so I just went up there and blocked his line, and he came down low, and I would go down low and block his line. And
Yeah, yeah, we
I,
saw a lot of that up there too, and it's like
and
as the leader, like you get to kind of pick that. I don't know, man. It was tight.
yeah, it was. I feel like that first lap is really where it started. I just happened to get past him off the start because I don't know if he wanted to go up there. I don't know if he overshot the first corner. I don't know. But I took the bottom lane and took it, and then I pinched him a little bit outside to get him to either check up or hit the wall, and he wasn't hitting me. So
Well, he had
right,
a couple slips for trying to match your exit. So like
right,
he was way better than you on entry. No offense,
right. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
but like he had it on entry, and he was trying to figure out that exit, where to modify his backup to get the entry in and chase you off. He had a couple slip ups there, and he was still fighting back from those slip ups. Like when he was racing the track, he had you beat. When he was trying to like get out of your line to get around you, that's where you had him, and that was the whole New Hampshire dynamic. But like he had the car, man. He
Oh
had the
yeah.
car.
Like I was telling the guys before in the Discord, is like he was faster than me, no question about it. I
Yeah.
I will put my hand up, but I just was ahead when the checker flag flew.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
he attributed, so on the pit stop, he babied the pit stop a little bit and gave you a little bit of advantage there. And I think on
Oop, I think we lost Tommy there.
What?
your restarts were the key.
Yeah, the restart for sure, but on the pit, it was I came in a lap earlier to make sure that he doesn't undercut me because the tires were worth
Yeah.
about a second and a half. So it was worth coming down to get ahead of him. I was banking on the fact that he would come in a lap after me or a couple laps after me, and I was hoping that he wasn't just going to stay out and come back at the very end with some good tires and catch me then.
Right. Well, that was actually a great race. Congratulations on another win. So you got another W. It doesn't matter how they get it, as they all say, as long as you're. That's the key. That's what everybody comes out here and do is get the W, and you got another one tonight over
Yeah.
Devin Zimmerman, and he was chasing you down. That was a great, great race. You were shifting, and I think that may have been the advantage. He was not. I'm not sure if you were aware of that. So that way, my here you had the better off, where he had the better in. So I think that's where he was gaining on you just a little bit there. But man,
We should talk about that just for a second for those that are following for the pro tips. So like what was your strategy with the shifting into fifth as opposed to the not shifting like Devin was?
Well, I just felt like if I got a really good run, like during practice, when I would get a really good run coming out of the corner, I would hit, the rev limiter down the straightaway, and I just didn't want to take that chance. So I started shifting during practice, and then we got into the race, and he got close to me, and I hear that he's not shifting in fifth, and I was like, okay, that's weird, but I'm not gonna do that because I'm not gonna change what's working. So
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I just left it. I just kept
No,
doing it throughout the entire race, and it was comfortable. It was what I did throughout practice, and that's what I learned, and here we are.
yeah, it's something we touched on in the race with these next gen cars in the fifth gear, how it can be more of a driver element, being able to choose kind of how you choose gears and use the momentum of the motor, for example, for slowing down, going in and out of corners, and the time lost during shifting. So it was really cool to see the two of you running different shifting strategies and still being in that same dogfight.
Yeah, it was interesting, it for sure. I think the biggest thing is it it didn't really give me anything. It was more just like a safety net, then just in case if something happened.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that, and I think we alluded to that during the broadcast as well.
Mhm. Well, Ryan, congratulations on yet another win. We're gonna let you get back down there, celebrate this one. See you next week. A great run tonight. Great win. As always. I mean, you know, see you next week and maybe get another W, or maybe Devin can get up there and challenge you again and make it another great race. So have a good one, bud.
Absolutely. Yeah, see you.
Well, that was a lot of chatter with number one and number two. heck of a
Yeah.
heck of a battle between those two. The different strategies on the shifting, the entry versus exit, the straightaway the front stretch versus back stretch. Two completely different driving styles, just staying competitive all night long through the entire thing, including the pit cycle. Just
Mhm.
tremendous.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great battle tonight. Absolutely wonderful in between Ryan Shelton, Devin Zimmerman. You couldn't ask for a better race tonight in between those two, because here we have Ryan Shelton. I usually, or Devin Zimmerman. These two just when they get the lead, it's kind of like a runaway race. Tonight we actually saw them battling it out, and like I said, Ryan said it. Devin had the car. He just needed that extra time to get around him. So
Yeah,
had this gone another shift, if Devin would have hit his marks in the beginning, I mean, it could have been a totally different outcome. We
yeah.
don't know, and that's what's great about this series.
Yeah, Devin had a little difficulty. Ryan Shelton, par for the course, hitting his marks, doing the thing, and Ryan said himself, I think everyone on the track knew Devin had the car. Hard to pass here. Oh man, that was. I'm lost for words. That was some awesome racing tonight. I can't wait for next week. I think we might be developing a little bit of a rivalry here between the two. A friendly rivalry, of course.
Yeah, and Ryan's slowly sneaking up into that podium position. So if he keeps it up, there may be a battle for the championship between Ryan and Devin. Ethan had a great strong. He's still hanging in there in third. I mean, so he is getting up there, consistently putting up the points. Ryan's just squeaking in there every week and just pulling out more. He led laps. I think Devin led a lap tonight. I'm not sure. We know Robert Cochran for sure led a lap.
Oh yeah, he
He
did.
said out.
Got to get that bonus
Um,
point.
but it's just those little things. I mean, it's those points, and like I said, it's hard to get that point back, but man, it's easy to give it away. That's for sure.
Yeah, well,
So,
next week, Monday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, we will be here for the Veterans League. On Friday night, April 22nd, we do have a charity race benefiting the Letchworth Park Autism Specific Sensory Trail. Great fundraiser benefiting the autism community and other people who are sensory specific, so they'll be able to go out and enjoy nature without the hustle and bustle of a public park. I've been to public parks; they're not all that great.
right?
So Andy Shaner will be joining me up here in the Back Sports booth. So we have the Vets League 8:15 p.m. Eastern next Monday, the charity race this Friday. This Saturday following, I will be on a podcast called Film Heat. They are doing a bracket style elimination of I believe they've picked 6 racing films, and they'll be picking the best of those 6. So I'll have an opinion. I'm sure they'll tell me it's not right. I'm leaning towards Days of Thunder. But if you guys want to tune in and watch that, they do a cool thing over there. It's not as family friendly as over here. There may be a cuss word or two, so it's not safe for work. But cool thing they're doing. They're going to join in with us with the fundraiser, so you can find me over there doing that thing. Um, but good times. Lots of stuff happening over here on Back Sports, man.
Yeah, back sports, back charities. We also have the iconic race coming up this Sunday. It will be at Talladega.
Oh,
So if
oh,
you still have time to get into that and come out here and race with all these And that's one of those ones where you got to show your mettle, and
Yep,
it's
that's
been a tight battle. It's the actual race. There is, I mean, you get the set tires, the
No fast
laps. You get
repairs.
500 miles, no fast repairs.
it,
It's
it's
great
as
to.
it's as true to life as it could be.
That's right, and you have all the top guys that are out there battling. So that's a good one. If you think you have the medal or want to come out and just try us out, go to backcharities.com, bacccharities.com. You can sign up for the Iconic series. There still is time as they run through October. We're only the second. This will be the third race in. And we have, once again, Autism Awareness Month. So with Tyler Daniels Racing, Tyler Daniels is autistic and he comes out and he's a great driver. And currently he is going to win the Xfinity Series Championship on Saturday mornings. Congratulations to Tyler Daniels and his championship in the Xfinity Series Saturday morning league. So congratulations to him with the Autism Awareness Month. Things couldn't be great. Everything is great for Tyler. Come join us in Discord. So anybody out there, just support, and make aware that autism is something that, these guys can overcome because Tyler has beaten quite a few people and he is a very, very good racer. If you ever come out and battle him at any given time,
Yep.
he is very good. So
And
just
not
because you have
just
autism doesn't mean you're disabled. It just means that you're thinking a little bit different. And sometimes difference is what takes to win.
And I'll say, not just on the iRacing service as well. Tyler Daniels also does go kart racing up in, I think it's Bliss International Speedway in New York. He's got a couple more sponsors on his cart this year, thanks to everybody out there in YouTube land that tunes in and supports us and everything we've done at Back Charities, Back Sports, Tyler Daniels Racing. The whole group that helps put all this stuff on. So he's going to be out there tearing it up, real rubber on real pavement, and he's pretty fast.
Yes, he is. And like you said, we have autism awareness coming up this Friday evening. Tune right back here to Back Sports, where you can catch all the live action. As myself, Dustin, will be out on track. You have Tommy and Andy Shane are in the booth. I'm sorry, um,
Yep,
calling
and
the race, and it's going to be kind of like a throwback to when this thing first got started. So
yep,
come
and
on out and join us.
we'll have special guest Argo from Film Heat as well. He'll be doing a couple plugs for what they're doing over there with that movie broadcast thing. So again, guys, tune into the charity event. They're helping us with some fundraising as well. So tune into what they're doing the night after. Gonna be a good time. He's coming from the film world to watch a little racing, to get a little bit of background for what he's doing with his movie thing, and I'm curious to see as an outsider how he takes it. I think he's gonna have a good time. I don't see how you could be up here in the booth like we do every night, the best job in iRacing, and not have a good time, right?
And
Right.
always those things put on a show. Every time we go to a track for the charity races, they always put on a show. Last year at Nashville, the Teddy Bear Race Drive, Las Vegas, I mean, everything was a show. Everybody had a great time. And it's good, clean racing. So I'm glad to see it's going to be actually put back on YouTube for everybody to join live. And let's see what
Yeah.
goes on this time around.
And
Dustin, I know you haven't really said much tonight. We've kind of kept you quiet. How about you
he's just
chime in
busy on
and you
those
let me know?
cameras.
How
Just
about you
sitting there,
speak up for a little bit?
just sitting there listening to you guys. It's always fun to listen to you guys chat and concentrate on cameras and background here. But can't wait for next week at Michigan here on for the Vets vs Spiners League, as that's what we'll be racing Friday night as well. So me and Jay will actually get a good feel on what the car is gonna feel like on the track, and Tommy will get good practice calling in the booth on what Michigan looks like.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys on track and get the opportunity to watch the two of you who I spend so much time up here with talking to actually out there driving, and I can talk about how bad you guys are at it.
You're going to have a lot to talk about in that point. I'll tell you that right now. There's a lot of quality drivers. You want to see the best in TDR, you tune in this Friday night and you watch us go at it. Me and Dustin usually find each other on the track, and also my brothers. So Jim Downham has been doing very well recently. So I'm going to try and hook up with Jim sometime throughout the course of the night, and maybe Dustin, to find my way to the front. Hopefully, knock on wood or anything at the end of the night. But yes,
We'll have to go
yeah,
three
Ryan
wide for
Shelton
a
will be
good
there.
show.
Yeah, Ryan Shelton's going to be there.
And
Thompson may be there. Biznett will be there. So a lot of these guys that you're watching tonight will also be out there, so you can watch them and watch the rest of TDR go at it.
before we sign out, you guys are amateurs like myself, right? We're not nearly as professional as the guys we watch week in, week out. Have you practiced at all? What are you going into the race with next week? Give me some pit road information right now that I can bring up here Friday.
My will and a hope and a prayer.
Okay.
All
I'm going
right.
out for fun. I'm going out for the for the fundraiser part of it. Just go out and have some fun, and whatever happens on track happens. But in the end, that's what we're there for. We're there to raise some money for this nature trail, and we're always there to race for Tyler, and just out there for the fun and just have some fun is all I can really say, Jay.
Absolutely. I think that's all that matters. Jay, you got your brother Jim out there on track.
Yes, I do. So I have a little bit of help along the way, but I race pretty good at Michigan. It seems to be one of my better tracks. I'm not really fond of the track itself, but for some reason I do run well there. So I have actually made a helmet that is has earphones in it. So I made my own kind
Nice.
of noise canceling headphones inside an actual helmet. It's an HJC fall flip up helmet. So I'm probably going to be wearing that with because it's gonna be a tough run to on Friday, that's for sure. So with that though, I mean it's a lot of fun. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the share button. I'm sure somebody out there would want to hear our banter going on after these races, and maybe pick up a few fans along the way. The more we get, the better we are. So
Absolutely.
absolutely. We love every single one of you. Robert, thank you for chiming in tonight. Scott Green, Sharon, as always, thank you for showing up. Jim, just bantering back and forth. Argo Nash put great race, and if you ain't first or last, which is very true in any race that we go to. So, but thank you everybody for tuning in, putting up with us, and taking time out of your life to come out here and spend it with our Monday nights to support the first responders, the vets, and active military. So we appreciate all them. We send them all a big salute, and we thank them all for their service and all that they do.
100%. Any final thoughts, Dustin?
No, just excited for the rest of the week and have some fun racing. That's all it is. Have some fun.
Yeah. Yeah, big week over here on Back Sports. We got the charity event Friday at 8 p.m. I will be on Film Heat Saturday night at 8 p.m. And then we'll be back here again Monday at 8:15 p.m. bringing you all the action from the Vets League at Michigan. Big shout out to B&B Wraps, facebook.com/b.bwraps, and McConey Setup Shop, McConeySetupShop.com. Of course, Back Charities, backcharities.com, give back with back. And until then, from Back Sports, we will see you soon.